today's session in our series of webinars. I'm Dr. Neeru Mehra speaking to you live from Cloud9 Hospital, Sector 14, Gurgaon. So today I'm going to be focusing on thyroid disorders in pregnancy. Now, this is a very relevant topic as the thyroid disorders, they not only affect the course of the pregnancy, but they may also affect the ability to get pregnant and may also be a reason for repeated miscarriages. So here I would endeavor to clear all your doubts. We already have received some questions which I would take up after a very brief talk about thyroid disorders in pregnancy. But please keep on sending any queries and I would be happy to answer as many as I can. So to start with, let's talk briefly about a thyroid gland. So thyroid gland is basically an endocrine gland. It is a small butterfly shaped gland which is present in the anterior part of the neck. It secretes hormones which play a very important role in the regulatory functions, the metabolic functions of our body. When the secretion of these hormones is decreased, we call it as hypothyroidism or the underactive thyroid gland. And when the secretions are increased, we call it as an hyperthyroid we call it as an overactive gland. Hypothyroidism is found to be more common as compared to hyperthyroidism. Especially the prevalence of hypothyroidism is more in our sub-Himalayan belt of India. So let's briefly touch upon hypothyroidism because here in today's webinar, I would be talking more about hypothyroidism because this is the one which has more impact, which is found more in our pregnant population, and this is the one which has more impact on the fertility issues of women. So, what actually happens in hypothyroidism? So in hypothyroidism, there is suboptimal secretion of the thyroid hormones, and the various symptoms are that the patient, they will complain of weight gain. There is fatigability, weakness, lethargy. They are always feeling cold, or there is cold intolerance, bowel disturbances, especially constipation, and they can even have sleep disturbances. Now, all these symptoms which I have just enumerated, these are something which even a pregnant lady presents with all these symptoms. So if we don't have this thing of a diagnosis, of a differential diagnosis of hypothyroidism in our minds, and we might miss it, and we might just attribute all these symptoms to a normal pregnancy symptoms, which can have repercussions later on. Hypothyroidism is of two types. Mainly, there are two. There is one which we call as a subclinical hypothyroidism, and second is an overt hypothyroidism. So, without going into the details, overt is basically the one which presents with a lot of symptoms. Subclinical is the one which is diagnosed only when we do a routine blood test. Otherwise, the patient might not present with too many symptoms in the subclinical, but the effect on the pregnancy nevertheless is there even with a subclinical hypothyroidism. Now there are some differences of opinion. There are some people who say that the subclinical hypothyroidism should be treated, and there are some who say that the subclinical one should not be treated. But considering the impact which this condition can have on the developing fetus, on the intellectual development of the baby, so it is essential that we should treat even a subclinical forms. In our population, in our practice, we routinely do thyroid function test for all the pregnant ladies at their first visit for a pregnancy checkup. So now, why is this detecting hypothyroidism so much important in pregnancy? So you see, the fetus, needs thyroid hormone for its for the development. Basically, in the first 3 months, there's a lot of development occurring in the fetus in terms of brain, the neurodevelopment, and in these cases, in the first three, the baby, the fetus is able to form the thyroid gland is formed by the end of third month, and a fully functional thyroid gland is only by the end of fifth month. But growing fetus needs a thyroid hormone. So if there is a deficiency in the mother, so definitely the thyroid hormone which is needed for the development of the fetus is not available, and so it can impact the development of the brain and the various cognitive skills later on in life. And how do we detect hypothyroidism? Is basically we are doing the thyroid function test, in which we do the two thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, and the TSH hormone. The TSH is the one which we look at earlier as compared to the other, because in cases of an hypothyroidism, the TSH maybe in a subclinical one, the TSH rises, but the T3 and T4 might be normal. So they after the preliminary test which we have done, and if it comes out to be abnormal, and after starting the patient on the relevant medicine which is needed, so the TSH levels we monitor by doing them every 4 weeks till the 20th week of pregnancy. Then after that, it's 4 to 6 weeks, every 4 to 6 weeks, depending upon the values, whether it is coming within the normal range or not. The dosage to be given, it depends upon not just on the levels of the TSH which we are getting on the lab reports, but it also depends upon the weight of the patient, as well as if there is any other morbidity is present, and it also depends upon the symptomatology the patient is presenting with. If a person who has already been diagnosed as a case of hypothyroidism, so in these cases, the requirement of the thyroid hormone, the Eltroxin, the medicine which we start, levothyroxine, it increases by about 30 to 50% during pregnancy. After the delivery, the levels, if the patient was already hypothyroid before pregnancy, so after delivery we can come back to the normal pre-pregnancy dose which the patient was already taking. And if the hypothyroidism if the hypothyroidism developed only during the pregnancy, then immediately after delivery we can very safely reduce the dose to half of it, continue at half the dose till the sixth week of pregnant post delivery. After 6 weeks, we do a reassessment, and then depending upon that, uh, we decide whether to give the medicine further or not. So this was very briefly about the thyroid disorders in pregnancy. Now let's take up the questions one by one. So. What should be the anti-thyroid? Smart is asking, Smarthi is asking, what should be the a thyroid diet if suffering from PCOD? See, in a thyroid, there is no such thyroid diet as such, but there are certain things which you can do to keep the thyroid disorder at bay. Main among this is the lifestyle modification, that you need to have a healthy lifestyle, have inculcate exercises, have a regular exercise regime, keep your weight in the recommended range for your height, avoid alcohol, caffeine, and include lots of vegetables and fresh fruits and vegetables, as well as iodine-rich foods. They also, and iodized salt. So these are the various things which you can include in your diet. Uh, thyroid patients weight loss के लिए what should a hypothyroid patient do? So you see, basically, what happens in hypothyroidism is that because of the lack of the hormone, the your metabolism is very slow. So definitely, you have to start on thyroid medication. Along with that, your various changes in your lifestyle so as to increase the metabolism of your body, that would surely help in uh, losing weight if you have a hypothyroid problem. Then which hormones are responsible for the thyroid disorder in pregnancy? During pregnancy, there is a particular hormone which is secreted. We call it the HCG hormone. Now, this HCG hormone and the TSH, they have um, an alpha chain which is a cross reactive thing. So because of as the HCG levels rise, so it contributes to a patient developing hypothyroidism in the first trimester of pregnancy. Uh, how often should thyroid be checked during pregnancy? As I told you, thyroid, we start at the first visit when we are doing all the routine blood tests. At that time, we do a TSH, and if it comes out to be abnormal, we start you on the relevant medicine, and then we check it every 4 weeks till the time you are 20 weeks of pregnancy, and we are titrating the dose according to the levels which you're getting at each time we are testing the TSH. And after that, if we have been able to stabilize it, then maybe around maybe every 6 weeks, or if you take landmarks, then at 28 week and at 32 week we can repeat the TSH. Now Nisha is asking, I am 6 weeks pregnant and my doctor has started Eltroxin even though my TSH level is in normal range. So, Nisha, this is a thing which a lot of patients say, because when they see at the reports, the range, the thyroid or TSH level which you are getting is within the normal range of the within the normal range. So, but basically, you see, we have certain guidelines which have been formulated by the international gynae societies, and the range of the thyroid TSH appropriate for the different trimesters of pregnancy is different from a non-pregnant women. In pregnancy, we strive to have the TSH levels less than 2.5 in the first trimester, and the level should be within 3, below 3 units in the second and the third trimester. So even though in a non-pregnant person the normal range is till about 5.5, but in a pregnant lady we take a range of 2.5 to 3, and anything more than that, then we normally start them on a hypothyroid medicine. And this is what we were talking about as a subclinical hypothyroidism. Richa is asking, does a thyroid problem affect the menstrual cycles or fertility? Yes, both hyper as well as the hypo. Both of them can interfere with your normal menstrual cycles. They make them irregular. Sometimes they might make them prolonged. There might be excessive bleeding, and especially hypothyroidism can interfere with the ovulation. Another thing which most commonly anyone who is on the thyroid medication are advised is that you need to take the medicine empty stomach. So why? That is because whenever you take these medicines, the food along with it, if you take it along with food, it decreases the absorption of the medicine. So it needs to be taken empty stomach. But another thing to be taken care of is that That it does not mean that you take the medicine and then maybe after 10 minutes after that you eat something. There has to be a gap of at least minimal of 45 minutes to 1 hour between the time you have taken the medicine and whenever you eat anything. Divya is asking, I have just delivered and I was on thyroid medication, but my doctor still has asked me to take the thyroid medicine even after delivery. So, do I have to take this lifelong? Divya, no, you don't have to take the hypothyroid and this medicine lifelong. If it was detected only during the pregnancy, then maybe just for about 4 to 6 weeks. And as soon as the levels come back to normal, after 6 weeks, you can be weaned off the thing. But if it was present even before you became pregnant, then probably lifelong. So another person is asking, Kritika is asking, can I take the thyroid medicine with other medicines? So we normally in pregnancy we are prescribing iron and calcium supplements also along with the other medicines, but there has to be a gap between these supplements and your thyroid medication. So there has to be a gap of at least 3 hours between the other supplements and your thyroid medication. Uh, then Janvi is asking, what is postpartum thyroiditis? So, postpartum thyroiditis is basically a condition. Ruchi is asking her just languages. You can skip. Somebody's asking what are the main kinds of thyroid conditions. So as we said, there are two, either a hypothyroidism or a hyperthyroidism. So Sonakshi Chatterjee is asking, ma'am, I had consulted a doctor in October for pregnancy planning and still not conceived yet. She advised thyroid 25 since then as per my report. Do I again check my thyroid? What should be the frequency to check my thyroid profile while pregnancy planning? So see, यहाँ से I think that you had a very uh, what should I say, a very mild hypothyroidism. So that is why the 25 mcg is the lowest dose which we normally give to a patient. And do I again check my thyroid? Yes, you should. You give it. Take the see. Whenever we start any thyroid medication, it takes about say about 4 to 6 weeks for the levels to come back to normal and for the medicine to take its effect. So I think very safely you can repeat your the test after 6 weeks and then see where you stand. Um, Ankita is asking, my TSS was 11 in my first trimester and 21 in my second trimester. So I was taking 100 mcg. I'm 35-year-old and this is my second pregnancy. Will it affect my baby's development? Yes, Ankita, the levels which you have told us here, they are actually very high and so they are indicating towards more towards a overt type of hypothyroidism. Any level more than 10 units is alarming, and in my so and she says that in my first pregnancy the TSH levels were normal throughout my whole pregnancy. So you see, that is not a thing. If you had it normal in the first, then you'll have the normal in the second one also. But from your question, from your values, they are pretty high. So I think I would advise you to that your doctor should get anti-TPO antibodies done for such high levels, and definitely if you are whatever dose you are taking is inadequate, you have to increase the dose of your thing. And I think another thing which would help you is that maybe you can consult an endocrinologist in this scenario to see that as to why your TSH is not being controlled even with the medicine. So this is because it is not the medicine, the dose is less. Okay, Lipsa is asking what are the signs and symptoms of hypothyroidism? So we have already talked about hypo. In cases of hyperthyroidism, a person will have heat intolerance, that is, they feel excessive heat. Then they are very anxious. Anxiety बहुत होती है. Then there is the heart rate is very fast. They keep on having palpitations, excessive sweating, weight loss, bowel disturbances in the form of loose motions. What is postpartum thyroiditis? So, postpartum thyroiditis is a relatively rare condition. It's not a very common thing. So, this happens after delivery. So, after delivery, if there is any inflammation of the thyroid gland, then it leads to this condition which we call as postpartum thyroiditis. So in this, the immediately after the delivery, the thyroid gland goes into an overactive mode, hyperactive mode, and it starts secreting more of thyroid hormones. And then after that, there can be two scenario. Either it comes down to normal, or it can come down to normal and then again go into an underactive form and lead to hypothyroidism. The exact cause of postpartum thyroiditis is not known, but it is most probably autoimmune in nature. Gitika is asking, after a miscarriage, the thyroidum 25 was advised in November. As per this report, it is now in range, that's 3. So, shall I still continue with the medicine? Gitika, it depends whether you are planning a pregnancy or not. If you are planning a pregnancy in the near future, then you should continue with Thyranoum 25. And because there has been found to be an association of hypothyroidism with repeated miscarriages. Rita is asking, how are thyroid conditions treated during pregnancy and while breastfeeding? So hypothyroidism, there is this hormone, levothyroxine, which is the one we give routinely to everyone, and this is used to treat during pregnancy, and same it goes for the breastfeeding. During breastfeeding also we continue with the same medicine, but maybe in a lower dose. Manju is asking ki she has been on thyroid medicine for a long time. And her main query is, what if I miss a dose? So you see, if you forget to take a thyroid medication, then you take one as soon as you remember, unless it's almost time for your next one, in which case you skip the forgotten dose and but you do not take the two tablets together. Okay, Khushi is asking, we are trying to start a family and my husband's tested for thyroid. What should we do? Kushi, there has been found to be an association, like there is an effect of thyroid disorders even on male fertility pattern. If a person is suffering from hypothyroidism, then they are bound to have, they might have a decreased sperm count, decreased motility. There are decreased levels of the male fertility hormones, and so even your husband needs to be treated and for this thyroid disorder, so as to for you to conceive in a time frame. Kiki is asking, does thyroid lead to infertility? Yes, definitely. Both hypo as well as hyperthyroidism, both of them lead to infertility in the form of menstrual irregularities, prolonged cycles, and especially in cases of hypothyroidism, it inhibits with the ovulation process and thereby decreasing your fertility. Tina is asking, does thyroid lead to blindness in your baby? No, Tina, it does not. There's somebody who's asking, post 1 month delivery, my TSH was 1 and my doctor prescribed to take 75 thyroid. I want to check if I have to get my thyroid checked again. I'm currently 8 months post delivery. Ambika. So Ambika, your TSH level as of now, as I can see from here, is absolutely normal, 1.09 units. So I think you need to, you are now currently 8 months post delivery. So 8 months post delivery, so I think it's time to wean off the medicine. Get your TSH, you get your thyroid test done again, and maybe you might just need to stop the medicine now if you developed this problem only during your pregnancy. Uh, Jack is asking, can babies get thyroid? Yes, the babies can also get a thyroid disorder. We call it a congenital hypothyroidism, and this can develop when there has been any a problem with the development of the thyroid gland of the baby, either structurally or functionally. So the baby, they might have a growth failure in after delivery, after birth. They can have a growth problems, or the main symptoms are that they are excessive crying, poor feeding, constipation. All these are the symptoms which might present in a congenital hypothyroidism. And with the test, we routinely do a screening of the babies for the thyroid problem, and if they are started on at the right time with the medication, then there is no problem. There is no growth failure or anything. What are Pinky is asking? What are the complications caused during pregnancy due to thyroid? So, see, during pregnancy, if your thyroid status is not in control, it can lead to preterm labor pains, preterm deliveries, low birth weight. It can lead to placental abruption, in which the placenta gets separated out, and it can even lead to development of you having hypertension during pregnancy. What are the normal thyroid levels in pregnancy? Roja is asking. So the normal thyroid levels, basically, if we evaluate in terms of the TSH levels. So in the first trimester, that is the first 3 months, the levels should be less than 2.5, and in the second trimester, 3 units, and in the third trimester, again 3 units. Lately, there have been a modification, and certain other parameters have been introduced, the levels for the normal thyroid levels in pregnancy. Shruti is asking, post delivery I got thyroid which went back to normal after a month of medication. Does this mean I have more chances of getting thyroid in the future? It was just post delivery thyroid and this was it. No, I don't think, Shruti, there are any chances of you getting any thyroid disorder in the future, but it would be prudent that you keep on checking your TSH levels on an yearly basis. So I'm skipping some questions because they are a repetition of which what we have already done. Kirti is again, how long does it take to resolve thyroid issues? See, again, the same thing. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks for the effect to come. Then, okay, Tanya is asking, is coffee bad for hypothyroidism? See, it has been found that caffeine, it blocks the absorption of the thyroid, the medicine, thyroid hormone medicine, levothyroxine, which we are giving you. So it is always better to avoid coffee or have a minimal thing when you are on your thyroid medications. And then there are certain, whenever you're going to get your TSH levels done, so there are certain precautions which need to be taken. One is that it should be done empty stomach. Then you should not take your thyroid medication of that day. And third is that there are sometimes you might be taking some biotin capsules which people take for hair, skin problems or whatever. So the day you are going to get your TSH level done, you should avoid taking your biotin capsule at least 2 days prior to that. Meha asks which tea is best for hypothyroidism. So green tea, they say it's just a study. The one single study which showed that green tea should be avoided in hypothyroidism because it can have high levels of fluorides, and these fluorides, they can block the iodine absorption. So green tea is to be avoided, but chamomile tea or a sage tea, these have been found to be useful in cases of hypothyroidism. Then there was somebody who was asking how can I protect my thyroid? Yeah, how can I prevent from getting a thyroid? So apart from the lifestyle changes, there are certain foods which are rich in iodine, like fermented food sources, then probiotic supplements, having iodized salt, seawater fish like tuna, having edible seaweeds. These all they help in prevention of hypothyroidism. Then a very common question, it's not come here, but a very common question which the patients ask is there any specific diet or is there any specific foods to be avoided when you have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism? So you see the diet, these dietary restrictions, they have a role if you have goiter. Goiter is basically when there is an enlargement of the thyroid gland, which is associated with hypothyroidism. Then you need to avoid all these vegetables and fruits. vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, spinach, these are the ones to be avoided. Cooking these sometimes decreases their effect, so you can have sometimes, but not as a raw thing. Certain fruits like peaches, pear, strawberries, they decrease. They also should not be taken in hyperthyroidism. Soy products, especially tofu. These are the one tofu. These contain some isoflavones which inhibit the enzymes leading to the decrease in the hormone production of the thyroid hormone. So these should be avoided. Certain nuts like almonds, pine nuts, peanuts, they are also to be avoided. I think we have covered all the questions here. Rahul is asking, are there other fertility issues associated with a thyroid problem? See, thyroid problems, thyroid issues are commonly, along with them, they are commonly diagnosed with polycystic ovarian disease, as both of them are involving the abnormal hormone levels. ये तीस ये वाले करना है the highlighted ones. Uh, the highlighted ones have been covered. Jeet is asking, is thyroid dangerous? No, Jeet, thyroid is not at all dangerous. With the proper medication, it can be very well controlled, and it does not lead to any other complications. Mark asks, what can you do if you have thyroid during pregnancy? So again, the same thing, depending upon the levels of the TSH, we start you on the medication so as to bring the thyroid back to your normal levels. I think we covered all the questions, yes. This and one question from Julie, can thyroid be passed to the babies? Can be passed to the baby in the sense that if your levels are low and you are not taking any remedy, any medicine for it, then maybe the baby might have some growth problems or some cognitive skills, but it will not interfere with the development of the thyroid gland of the baby. I think we're done with all the questions. So, so the bottom line is that the thyroid problem in pregnancy is a very common thing which we see in a practice nowadays, and we should not. There are some patients who avoid getting the test done, thinking that okay, if it comes in the test, then I'll have to take a medicine and I'll have to take for life. That is not so. And if you have any more queries, then you can put them in the comment section and we will get back to them. Thank you.